This week in Jamaica Now. Chapter closed. The murderer in the Clarendon massacre gets life and will become eligible for parole when he's 85 years old.
Rushane deserve what he get.
Over to you. Jamaica's anti-corruption agency asks Prime Minister Andrew Holness to take action against two senior members of his executive. One of them, Carl Samuda, is angry.
It is abject garbage.
A school principal has been charged over a St. Catherine land scam linked to a notorious criminal gang. And the UK to allow citizens of Guyana visa-free travel. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. Gwendolyn McKnight, whose daughter and 4 grandchildren were killed at their home in Clarendon in June, says the murderer Rushane Barnett got what he deserved. The 23-year-old man has received 5 life sentences. He will be eligible for parole after spending 61 years and 8 months in prison. Ms. McKnight says she's pleased with the decision, although she wanted the parole eligibility to be set at 125 years.
I get the justice that I really want to deserve because Rushane deserve what he get. You understand? Because when you take up someone in your home, try to feed them, clothe them, get work for them, and this is what they give us. They pay me back in return. He has stabbed me in my back. He has taken away my family, all of my family. Those were my family.
Justice Leighton Pusey handed down the sentence on Thursday. He outlined the reasons for his decision.
I considered that this is the murder of a family in their own home, a place where they would consider themselves safe. Secondly, that there was a breach of trust. The accused inflicted on the family that welcomed him into their home as one of their own. I see this as a separate factor from the location of the murder. Thirdly, the multiple wounds on each of the deceased by the accused, which displays, and again, I struggle for adjectives, a direct viciousness in carrying out this attack. Fourthly, the attack was contemplated ahead of time, that the accused told someone that he was going to kill some people. And also in his caution statement, he indicated that he came to the conclusion that Miss Wright was looking at him away, and so therefore he acted.
Mr. Barnett killed his cousins, 31-year-old Kamisha Wright, and her children, 15-year-old Kimanda Smith, 12-year-old Sharalee Smith, 5-year-old Rafaela Smith, and 23-month-old Keshawn Henry. He pleaded guilty at the first opportunity and forced the removal of the death penalty as a sentencing option. And a woman and her 4-year-old daughter were killed in a fire believed to be the work of arsonists at their home in Dean Penn Highgate, St. Mary this week. 38-year-old Rose Beecher and Syria Cohen were among several relatives sleeping early Tuesday morning when their dwelling was attacked. 3 other persons who received burns during the fire remain in hospital. 1 person has since been taken into custody. Junior Cabinet Minister J.C. Hutchinson has become ensnared in another scandal involving the award of state contracts to his son's company. And the Integrity Commission has asked Prime Minister Andrew Holness and House Speaker Marissa Dalrymple-Philibert to sanction the minister for conflict of interest and nepotism. The Commission's chief investigator, Kevon Stevenson, said Mr. Hutchinson directly and/or ostensibly authorized Claudette Baker Archer, coordinator of the Constituency Development Fund, to recommend ProStar Electrical and Construction Company for the award of contracts by the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation for the supply of electrical material and supplies. The company is owned by Mr. Hutchinson's son, Jason. Mr. Stevenson described Mr. Hutchinson's conduct as appalling and may have damaged public confidence in Jamaica's governance arrangements. The St. Elizabeth Northwest MP said Wednesday he has not read the report. It was the second chastening of J.C. Hutchinson in 2 years after he was demoted by the Prime Minister after being embroiled in the Holland Estate scandal that also involved his son and his living partner. And the Integrity Commission has slammed Labour and Social Security Minister Carl Samuda as ethically reprehensible over his role in a grass scandal that involved him when he held the agricultural portfolio in 2017. Mr. Samuda had permitted a government entity, the Jamaica Dairy Development Board, to cultivate 14.2 acres of Mombasa grass on his property in Nollis, St. Catherine. The Integrity Commission said that the behavior did not rise to a criminal conduct, but said the minister was wrong for allowing the activity on his farm by an agency that he was responsible for. Mr. Samuda, though, is not happy about the report and has described the findings as a disgrace.
That is the most reprehensible piece of garbage that I have ever seen.
Wait, first of all, sir, are you on the record?
What?
Are you on the record? Because that's...
I don't know about law, but I know on the record I'm saying it is abject garbage.
Oh?
Full of falsehoods and redundant.
The Integrity Commission said that the Prime Minister and the House Speaker should take action against Mr. Samuda. Now, back in 2017, Mr. Samuda said he had repaid the 546,000 Jamaican dollars that the government agency used to administer the grass project. Meanwhile, the Integrity Commission has explained what is involved in the certification of the assets and incomes declared by public officials. The explanation in Parliament this week follows the Commission's disclosure that it is not in a position to certify the declaration for 2021 by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Director of Information and Complaints at the Anti-Corruption Agency, Craig Beresford, says generally the process involves communication with third parties.
There are several ways we do our third-party checks. Our third-party checks are done with entities that we establish a relationship with on the one hand. There are others that we can require the information under Section 7. And then the legislation also provides that we can get information from other jurisdictions. And this is done through FID. Of course, these processes, these various processes, they have their own timelines. So, as we undertake our examination and do our third-party checks, and the law goes on to say once the director is satisfied after that process, he makes a recommendation to the Commission.
The Integrity Commission has published a summary of the declaration by Opposition Leader Mark Golding. It shows that up to December 31, 2021, Mr. Golding and his family had asset holdings worth over 117 million Jamaican dollars, 1.3 million US dollars, and 1,660 British pounds. They had liabilities of 1.5 million Jamaican dollars and 3,101 US dollars. The police say 5 people have come forward with claims that they paid school principal Seulin Ward Brown over $4 million for lands near Clifton St. Catherine. One complainant allegedly shelled out $2.4 million for a plot in the controversial development. Others claimed they paid $800,000 and $600,000. Mrs. Ward Brown is charged with conspiracy to defraud, as well as breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act and the Law Reform Fraudulent Transactions Special Provisions Act. The Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency says 3 persons now being sought are major players in the scam. Earlier this month, the government demolished several unfinished structures which it said were built on lands illegally captured and sold to persons. Prime Minister Andrew Holness told Parliament that the scam was linked to the Klansman gang based in St. Catherine. The police have not linked the school principal to the gang. The British government said Tuesday that it was abolishing visa entry requirements for citizens of Guyana. Guyana's global importance has been rising with its growing oil and gas export capacity. British High Commissioner to Guyana, Jane Miller, says the decision will take effect on November 9. The World Bank has projected Guyana's gross domestic product to increase by nearly 50% this year, and foreign investment has skyrocketed since oil was discovered in 2015. And further afield, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is among the likely successors to Liz Truss, who announced her resignation on Thursday. The UK is seeking its 3rd Prime Minister in 4 months. Ms. Truss quit after a tumultuous 45 days in office in which her policies triggered turmoil in the financial markets and a rebellion in her Conservative Party that obliterated her authority. Conservative MPs have until October 28 to agree on a successor from their ranks or face another leadership contest. Boris Johnson has not formally commented on rumours of his consideration. Other potential contenders include former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak, who lost to Ms. Truss in the last leadership contest, House of Commons leader Penny Mordaunt, and Defence Secretary Ben Wallace. Opposition leader Sir Keir Starmer says that the Conservative Party no longer has a mandate to govern and fresh general elections should be called. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on the notification and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, 32-year-old Nikisha Bygrave from Buckner in Clarendon explains why she's seeking the public's assistance.
Right now, every day, I'm feeling sick because of the hernia. It swelled my tummy. My tummy is swell. So this is the hernia. The doctor said it is an incisional hernia.
So what will it take you need a surgery or something?
I have to do a surgery to correct the hernia and to close it back up.
What's the cost?
Well, I don't know the cost because I've been depressed since of late because I can't be able to go out and do any selling because I'm sick all the time. Some of the time, because of the hernia, they said it's affecting my organs where I will have shorter breath, and I feel like I'm not breathing. Like me feel like me not breathing properly, so I have to sit down. Most of the times the hernia hurt me, and every day I'm sick, but I have to get up and look after my kids same way because it's me and them that is here.
What would it take to make your life get back on track?
Well, I would want to do this surgery, and I would want to lose some weight so I can be able to work or even travel, so I can be able to even travel to another country so I can help to take care of my kids. I want to thank you to all the good Jamaicans that are out there, because hope is not lost at Jamaica. There are still good people in Jamaica. So some of the time, some of the difficulties I buck up in life, the goods outweigh the bad. So that keeps me positive, keeps me going.